Welcome, friend. The short story. A short story is a piece of fiction from 1,500 words to 6,000 words. Writing short stories is to set the imagination to work and to put yourself in the place of the prospective reader. Write stories of the kind that the reader would say it might have happened to me.
Be careful not to overdo either adjectives or superlatives. Keep the basic factors of a good short story well to the forefront of your mind. Begin with crisis, continue with crisis and end with a revelation. Introduce the chief character in the opening paragraph and let him show that side of his character you intend to keep to the
Full-length
fore.
book. This has an absolute maximum of 70,000 words and a minimum of 40,000 words. Arrange to divide your book into 15 or up to 20 chapters. Let no chapter exceed 5,000 words and no chapter fall below 2,500 words. Engage the reader's interest at the very beginning of your novel by starting with a scrap of dialogue.
Readers like emotional conflict and suspense. If nothing happens in the first 2 pages, you have lost the possible reader's interest in your work. Choosing your subject. Having chosen your subject, your next step is to find out what books have already been published about it. Read or skim through every available book on your subject.
Some aspects no one seemed to have adequately covered. Do you feel equal with your knowledge and facts to which you have access to fill the gap? Is yet another book on the topic really necessary? If your answer is yes, plan to write from 10,000 to 50,000 words on your chosen theme.
Writing the book. Decide what facts are necessary. Every fact must not be assembled before you start writing. Know where to find your facts. Publishers and readers want hard facts, not padding. Sound information and precise direction. While writing, keep in touch with current literature on your subject. You only need to average 1 page a day. You have produced 365 pages, which is the length of more than many books. Test your proposed story by writing a synopsis of 300 words. A summary of the story chapter by chapter written beforehand will help you to keep a clear storyline with not too many flashbacks or lengthy explanation. Words are the writer's raw material. What colors are to artists, words are to writers. Everything depends on the way you use or misuse words. You may assemble the most fascinating array of little-known facts, or think up the most ingenious plot and setting for your story. But if you cannot clothe your thought with suitable words, it will avail you nothing. Many of the sentences should be less than 15 words in length, making for a crisp, easy-to-read style. However, some sentences can be longer. Avoid using the same word twice in a sentence. Good writers manage not to use the same words twice in a whole paragraph. The use of the right word for that particular occasion show that the writer has a reasonable large vocabulary at their command. Not what you want to write, but what the public wants to read is the criterion. If the public is not interested in your kind of writing on that kind of subject, your efforts will be read by only a few. The way to study what the public wants to read is to study what the public is actually reading. The plot. Lack of a strong plot is the reason for editorial rejection. A plot is what happens and what the characters do about it. Working out a plausible plot take into consideration which, what, when, how, where, who. Let the imagination of suspense loose along these lines, and a story begins to shape itself. Some writers begin with a situation and then invent characters to exploit that situation. Other authors invent their characters first and go on to imagine how they would react in a certain situation. Conflict is a vital ingredient in any plot. It may be conflict between husband and wife, between rivals for the hands of the same girl, between parent and child, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, teacher and taught, town and country. The possibilities are boundless, and so are the sources of good plots. In the space available in a short story, the tale must unfold through the eyes of one character only. Plan the possibility obtrusively in the reader's mind earlier on in the story. and the long arm of coincidence is not unduly strained. By all means, set your stories against familiar backgrounds, but do not describe the background in any detail. Let the setting emerge in the course of the story. Another essential element in bringing characters to life is crisp, vivid dialogue. There should be no long speeches, and you'll be wise to limit every character to a 50-word maximum at any time. Every speech too must be in character. A common fault with beginners is a too frequently use of the word said. Angry people, for instance, do not just say. They boom, they roar, they shout. They bawl and they storm. Irritable people snap and snarl. Nasty people sneer. Frightened people scream or whimper. Nervous, timid people stammer or whimper, falter. Sad and disappointed people sigh, cry, or sob. Happy people smile and laugh. The technical article. Articles whose purpose is to inform and instruct rather than entertain. A large section of the non-fiction type of book deals with subject refers to in the technical article. Your qualification to write a non-fiction how to may lie in your being a professional in that particular line or being an amateur with many years of experience behind you. Your daily work and your hobbies and interests will indicate the particular line of technical writing. This are read mainly inspirational value and useful information. Articles with information on how to do certain tasks, solve problems, background info, or technical advances in some realm of knowledge. The illustrated article. The right kind of illustration can help sell an article besides adding to its interest, that is the use of photographs. A good picture or pictures can help sell an article. The presence of people in a picture not only adds interest but gives a behind the accepted manuscript lies conscious, methodical preparation in the way of storing up information, ideas, and impressions for future articles and stories. Each writer has to find a way of storing readily available information that suits him best. One popular way is to collect cuttings from newspapers and magazines and to file them in envelopes under appropriate headings. Another useful habit is to carry a notebook around with you. Jot down any ideas for articles that come to mind and sites you see or words you hear that might be worked into a future effort. Be business-like too in keeping an accurate record of your work so you know exact location of each manuscript at any given time. If you have had a personal experience of some contemporary social problem, try to tell it by all means. State the facts and leave the listener to draw his own conclusions. Whether the experience you wish to share is a social problem or something more cheerful, it must be a little out of the ordinary. Devotionals. The aim of the devotional article is to help people face up to life, to comfort them in times of trouble, to make clearer matters of right and wrong, and generally to challenge readers to a higher standard of Christian living. In this case, it will require a Bible text, summing up its message to stand at the head of the matter.